Hello out there. ¿Cómo está mi gente? Aquí está su servidor, Reinaldo Cervantes. Aquí estoy en mi casa, queriendo hablar ese español, pero el malo gringo me mocho la longra. Jaime Chavez, how you doing? Welcome to my show, my Chicano Perspectives. Want to congratulate the Huskers for their big win yesterday. They did it up against a kind of a team that was, I don't think that they play on the Huskers level, but they sure put a punching on them, especially on the offensive side, which is, I think we've needed some help there. And we got it. They were awesome. I think next week is they're going to have a game on Friday against Iowa. And if they beat Iowa, then they get a bowl bid because they travel on. But if they don't, then they won't get a bowl bid. Joe Mejia, how are you, mijo? How are you, primo? Let me see here. Come on today as a continuing discussion on the forum that I'm going to have. I think Dr. Ramirez and I are going to have it, but I'm not sure. I'm starting out to be the coordinator here in Omaha, and I know we can get a good program together so that we can discuss some of these issues that are critical for a coalition, so we can move forward on tackling like this immigration issue or whatever. But at this point, we've tried for about 15 years and haven't been able to do it because of misunderstanding of these different groups and the fact that we can't communicate. Let's say, for example, on the Mexican American side, they have a hard time communicating with Chicanos. Now, these groups have been around for years, since the creation of the center, and I would say that there would be the GI Forum, okay? So it's not you have to understand that these groups stand alone. That whatever movement was with the Chicano movement, it remains. Whatever issues a Mexican American had, they remain, okay? So you can't look at them as Latinos. They don't want to be called Latinos, and they're comfortable with it where they're at. Where they're uncomfortable with is how this cabal, I call it a cabal, that's come into town, and they've created an alliance within the cabal. The cabal itself is made up of professionals from a lot of South American countries. And the reason that cabal is here is because as Omaha grew with their needs to serve the diaspora. Now, what's the diaspora? Because this is so focused on Chicanos, it has to be those individuals that came here from Mexico. Now, there's been a diaspora for a long time, but not as great as it is now. And so this diaspora, Mexicans, the people that run the programs that they need are from the cabal. So you're talking about basically 4 stratifications there that stand alone. The cabal stands for Latinismo, where they have this Latino mantra, which is anathema to a Chicano or a Mexican American. So it's just the way it is. It has nothing to do with the personal things that, we don't care for you because you're a Latino. No, we don't care about that. We want you to know that you put us away, and you not only put us away by coming here, taking over our resources, and serving our community, the Mexican community from Mexico. And so that allowed for, as the population grew, for doctors, for lawyers, for teachers, professors, bilingual especially. And so they pretty much served the needs of the people on a professional level. It does not seem that they were able to come up with PhDs and MDs or whatever from the local community or even the state, maybe even the nation, I don't know. But those individuals, like doctors that came in here, they were professionals. Whether they were professionals in their country or whether they became professionals here, they are professionals, except that in most instances, they speak broken English. And it's hard for us to communicate with them, but they understand that we don't like their position and how they've put us in this monolith. I hope I'm not getting too detailed here, but so this causing misunderstanding and some issues that has not allowed us to come together as a coalition similar to what was under the Chicano Awareness Center, because now these individuals that come in, they don't want to be Chicanos, they want to be, Latinos, because they identify better with them. Except that they put us under the bus. I mean, willingly, because they couldn't handle the Chicanismo. I mean, there were a lot of well-meaning Central and South Americans that were part of this coalition that we tried to start. And the first disagreement came through, which I knew was going to ultimately happen because of this Latino-Chicano component, that it was going to break it up if we weren't careful. And it did. The Latinos, mainly sponsored by the UNO, they took their basketball and went home. And they declared that we don't need the Chicanos, we can do it on our own. There's enough people to serve both. And I say that's just very contrary to building of coalition. And so we've always been at odds in my mind with trying to advocate on behalf of our community. But nobody's gone away. The Mexican Americans. So if you look at a scale of 100, 100 people that would fit into this class of Americans of Mexican descent, including people from Mexico and Central America and South America, uh, and that they've gotten a power position, that they've controlled that diaspora, and so they have a cabal. And when you've asked them to, well, I remember Marty and Enrique Rotsky talking about, maybe speaking plainly to the Latinos in an effort once again to determine if we could create the coalition, and it never showed up. In fact, they would say, if you didn't come to us, you don't exist. I mean, literally. So there was hey, at this point of this year, really, we said, you know what, we can't work with you. We tried working with you for 20 years, and you're actually in the way because you control the resources. We had no resources. Those that we had, like the Chicano Awareness Center, $1 million and stuff, they were controlled by outside entities, corporate people. So it came to the point where, we're trying to recognize veterans. This was Marty's project. And we had a brainstorm about a year or two ago about how I would like to see a park, which is right across from Marty was born in Scottsbluff. It was called Veterans Park. And Marty had never been properly recognized with his Purple Heart, and others from Scottsbluff, so there was nobody to advocate on their behalf, and we're all dying. So I told Marty, we need to do this. So he goes, I got it. So he's got this organizing skill, and he's an organizer. He's a smart man, PhD, and he went out there, he did his thing. As a Chicano, it was very uncomfortable, I think, for a lot of people, and even in the Valley, to be talking about a Chicano Mexican American, but that's what it was. I don't know if there's a diaspora out there. I've never heard of it. But for sure, we had no leadership on the Mexican side for veterans or the Chicano side. So Marty, in an effort to create his legacy and what have you, and recognize these guys who were dead and gone, he says, well, we need a monument. And he got these guys to come in from Denver, I think Denver and another place, and Omaha. I'm screaming Scottsbluff. And they were able to say, yeah, let's do it. So they did it. That's how we know how to organize and do these things for 30 years, 100 years. I don't care. We got the funding for the Chicano Awareness Center. We knew what the hell we were doing. We knew how to do it. But in this case, it was a community and a few donors from the community and, from other people, white people in my community that were like his class members or mine. They donated well. And then we had a lot of $50 donors in 10 and 15, which is all good. But in the final analysis, we were like 5,000 short. And Marty's nephew came up with it. Said, I got you, cuz, or uncle. So boom, we were able to make our date. And there was the memorial. It was cold that day. There's the ledger that's being built for those who served and what happened to them. It's a scroll, sort of like a scroll. And we have the monument to those who died in battle. But we have to build up now the Purple Hearts and these other Medal of Honor winners that didn't die in action, okay, like Marty. He got shot up pretty bad, but he didn't die. Or Salome, or whomever was the Purple Heart from down there. So that's the next phase. So Marty went out there and boom, he got his monument. We have a monument now. There's a seed planted. And if they want, the people out there in Scotts Bluff could take it from there. If they don't want to, then it'll die. At some point, they have to step up and be leaders. And so now we're taking our focus in Omaha. We're going to have a recognition of Chicano veterans and Mexican American veterans. And importantly, those veterans that are from Omaha that are being deported because they're not citizens. And that's and we got a special thing coming up for a couple of individuals like Becky Patton, who's never, I don't think, been properly recognized. Fernando Salazar, ¿cómo estás, mi viejo? The Miami Kid. Anyway, we got some, I think, I'm just talking now. I don't think Becky's been properly, provided with a legacy because she's the one that blood, sweat, and tears on this monument for Miguel Keith, a Medal of Honor winner, silver medal, and there was a ship named for him. Hey, and I think, and I probably shouldn't be saying this because I have no, but the word is that they're Eric Lopez. The word is that they're thinking about naming a high school after Keith. It's a wonderful thing. I mean, Chicanos are Chicanos. And they're planting their seed. Although if Becky hadn't done it, she would have gone and Miguel Keith would never have been recognized. This Medal of Honor winner. And she was dogmatic and she blood, sweat, and tears, her and Virgil, her husband. So we're going to see if we need to do something. Maybe somebody already did. But that's, I think, a project we're going to take on because those so-called Latinos won't take it on, which is the cabal that controls the monolith, which is made up of Mexicans, mainly, from Mexico. So they have their own stratification. If you looked at the numbers on the South American community, you'd only come up with maybe a few thousand, as opposed to the Mexican community was about 90,000. And then you have maybe 50,000 of us, Chicanos and Mexican Americans, that would represent something like the GI Forum. And we get together, though, and create this coalition that needs to be created so we can move forward. It doesn't seem that there's nothing about the Chicanos, the cabal that is moving forward on these immigration issues at all. Nothing. And we have to tackle that issue of employers being able to get away with criminally from hiring these people from Mexico, who are here undocumented, and then they're worried about getting transferred. That's just stupid. There is no reason that they can't create a status for these individuals, and so that they have the ability to go back and forth if they want, or stay here if they want as a temporary visa. Now, I believe that this new Congress that we're going to have in the new Senate and the new president will allow us to do that. And so we have to be here right now talking about it because we understand that. We understand that You can't get no action until you go to the head of the Chamber of Commerce or the head of the unions. You got to take them on. You got to say, hey, what about this illegal action? And we might bring a suit against you, which maybe somebody has somewhere. But it doesn't matter. We'll be in adjudication. We'll be in the legal process with lawyers, if they want to take the pressure on. But for the first time in I don't know how many years, the brown people from South Omaha are going to take these people to task. You can't do that. You can't be not helping these people. And then when ICE comes, the employers get away scot-free because nobody's helping them. See? You can't have that. Well, the quote-unquote cabal and the Latinos aren't doing anything about it. They won't confront these guys because they're part of it. Now, we'll discuss that. But we as Chicanos are going to take this issue on because we can't wait anymore, and we haven't gone anywhere. We just say, okay, we can't work with the Latinos anymore. And so we have to tell them why. Now, if they want to create an understanding where the thing is, it's better to be together than divided, it's up to you. Because we're not waiting for you. We're not. You think I'm going to wait around till we get the okay from the Latino Center of the Midlands or Sergio's group or anybody's group? No, we're not. And we're going to have to get our office, probably another 501c3, but we're coming back now. We've seen that you can't do it. You don't know how to do it. Just watch us. Just watch us. Just watch how we do things. We don't do things like hollering and pounding on tables. No. We present them with solid proposals, professional proposals, and then go public and have a meeting with them. And they'll meet. Have a meeting with our state representatives. And so you got to pass some legislation. Now, nobody's told these senators from South Omaha, McConnell and then the Senator Garza, they haven't been on the floor advocating for this. They don't tackle it. I can understand why, because they've had to work with Latinos. And they know the Latinos don't have any encouragement, or they don't care if they're abusing, believe it or not, immigrants. That's not good, ladies and gentlemen. That's not good. We've been waiting around now for 20 years trying to say, well, we'll work with you, and you just keep moving on. Pretty soon we're anathema. So wait a minute. And there's been several confrontations between us and the cabal, where the cabal is so powerful that they put Chicano leaders down, and they feel bad. They don't feel they have any power. I said, just watch. We're coming back now. So we're going to take these issues on, but we're going to have a forum. We're going to have a forum where if there's 50,000 Chicanos here, or 50,000 Americans of Mexican descent here, they'll be represented at the table. If there's 2,000 Cabalistas, they'll be there. And if there's 90,000 part of the diaspora, they'll be there. People from Mexico and the consulate will be there. She will be there because we have issues with her. And that's where I got in trouble with the first time with the Hoyas, because I see what they were doing. And I says, no, you were in a fake, a sham, and you're using the community to say, we're okay with this. No, they are not. And ever since then, no politician in Nebraska has championed the need for immigration reform right here in Omaha, because they still allow ICE to come in here and round up the immigrants, but don't do nothing to the employer. And nobody says anything about it until now. We're going to take the employers to task. We're going to work with the Chamber of Commerce, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and the other one, the American GI Forum people, probably the church, and the cabal. And Dr. Sanchez, who's come a long way to, I understand him better, he understands me. We both finally get it and see the value of coalition. So he will be there assisting me. Now he'll represent a certain group, and we know that there's got to be dialogue. We need to be sharing information. And we're either going to see the value of coalition or we're not. And that's okay. So we made our pitch, okay? And that's all we want. And this forum that I'm going to have is not going to be open to the whole world. I think we'll put it live so you can get on Facebook or something.